What up, gang? Lane Carolina Jackpot time coming. Just Sunday afternoon. It's about 2:30. I'm going to call this the driving home edition. All right, from driving home from the South Carolina Vanderbilt game last night. Ain't that what them guys over on the Georgia Bulldogs channel do it? Well, I'm going to do one today. So I'm already back in the upstate of South Carolina. Last night, 38-27 win in Vanderbilt Stadium over the Commodores. First, just an overview of what I saw up there as far as scenery and this, that, and other. Nashville, nice place. Got there Friday evening. It was really late. Crashed in a hotel about 15 miles from the stadium. Drove down there probably an hour and a half before game time. It rained pretty much off and on all day Saturday, so I didn't hit the Nashville Music Row scene with all the great restaurants and stuff. People on the comment section like, "Oh, jackpot, you should have went here, you should have went there," and blah, blah. No, that ain't me. We stayed at the hotel, watched college football till 4 o'clock, and then went to the game. I had to buy a parking garage. I've never been to a college football game where I parked in a parking garage. $30 to park safe. As soon as the game was over, left, got to the truck immediately. We were out of there. I'm talking about, I have never been to a college football game where I got in, saw the game, got out so quick. I mean, we were literally back, well, not at the hotel, went and ate something after it was over, but we could have been back at the hotel in 30 minutes from the Vanderbilt Stadium. So that was cool, I guess. Well, the reason why, there weren't that many people there. I didn't look at the actual reported attendance. Place holds 40,000. I think there may have been around 30,000 fans in attendance. Well, that's probably generous. It's probably more like 25,000. Vanderbilt doesn't have a very good showing home crowd support-wise, obviously. I mean, they're in the midst of a 26-game SEC losing streak. I mean, can you blame people for not wanting to come out to see this product? With that being said, let's talk about the game a little bit. A 38-27 win, Carolina Jackpot, though, to me, it feels like it was kind of an ugly win. And I know that as much as the offense has been scrutinized, maligned, just overall, just really dissected, not in a good way, by me and lots of other folks, putting 38 points up on the board, none of it defensively, none of it special teams wise, would be satisfactory. Well, right? In that respect, it was. Putting 38 points up on the board, I was glad to see that. From the start of the game, almost, I actually saw Marcus Satterfield really open up the playbook. With some reverses. Marshawn Lloyd not available for South Carolina last night, deep thigh bruise. So, you had a combination of Christian Bill Smith, Jaheim Bell, and Juju McDowell in the backfield for the Gamecocks last night. None of them tremendously effective, with the exception of Christian Bill Smith, kind of a little misdirection type play. He kind of popped out of there for like a 50-something yard touchdown. I believe that was in the second quarter. Really nice run, his longest run of the year by far, and that kind of swung a lot of momentum in our favor at the time. Really happy to see Christian Bill Smith do that. Jaheim Bell lined up at running back, carried the ball last night, I think like 16 times for about 56 yards, so he's not a running back by trade. That was just kind of a move that had to be made there to supplant the injury to Marshawn Lloyd, and I get it. So, hopefully we don't have to continue doing that, because I really don't think that's where he's most effective. But he did. We saw him catch some balls last night as well. Kind of out of the slot, and he got some touches last night. So finally, hopefully everyone will be happy that Jaheim Bell got touches. Jaheim Bell was productive last night. Jaheim Bell looked like he was a contributing member of this team last night. So I was glad to see that. Was also glad to see Spencer Rattler not turn the ball over. He took care of the football last night. No interceptions. No fumbles by the Gamecocks last night either. Special teams wise, no block kicks last night. Not real good in the return game. Did pull off a fake field goal. I think that was that in the second quarter? It was in the second. I was remembering in the third. It was in the third quarter. Kai Kroger, the holder, threw a nice pass to Tonka Hemingway, the big defensive lineman, number 91, who made an outstanding catch on that fake field goal attempt, which that was a nice one as well. And Kai Kroger has the highest QBR in the state right now. So Kai Kroger is the best quarterback in the state of South Carolina right now. Well, he's the best passer of the football. Anyway, the most efficient passer of the football in the state of South Carolina as it stands right now, and that's amongst all of the major college football programs. So offensively, I think South Carolina looked good. Josh Vann, nice touchdown grab. Xavier Leggett continues to be a big contributor. That Joyner got in last night. He threw a touchdown pass out of Wildcat that was kind of on a busted play. You really didn't have a receiver to throw it to. Got the ball to Juice Wells right there on the sideline, who made a great move and cut back inside, and he was gone. 50-plus yard touchdown there. So I was glad to see that one as well. Things I didn't like, after halftime, South Carolina was up 31-14, I think it was at halftime. Lets them come back to 31-21. And then, from this point, South Carolina got up 38-21. For the remainder of the game, really, after, just a few minutes into the third quarter, it just seemed like the Gamecocks just kind of played with their food a little bit. Nothing, like really getting hyper conservative as hell early in the third quarter, which I get it. We had a pretty good lead. I'm sure people thought, they're going to sit on this lead, and we won't run the risk of him turning the ball over and putting us in a bad situation, hurting his confidence. We know that Rattler does kind of like to turn the ball over sometimes, so. But as a fan, it doesn't really make the game fun to watch. So, I'm a little jealous, or not jealous, I guess, a little selfish in that respect, that I like to see, continue with the big plays, continue some more stuff, continue to experiment a little bit, and just put your foot on their neck and just yank up on it. I mean, just give them the kill shot. We don't give them the kill shot, man. It's just like, just monkeying around, and finally got out of there with a 38-27 win. And Vanderbilt had gotten the ball back again with like 2 or 3 minutes left. We threw an interception. I mean, had they scored there, I mean, they would have been within a onside kick of potentially winning the game. I mean, so that was too close for comfort. 11-point win, covered the spread. But at the same time, I say it was an ugly win because the second half just really wasn't exciting to me, and I thought that they could have opened things up yet some more in the second half there, and really gotten a confidence builder for this team. Should have beaten them by 28 points. Instead, you beat them by 11. Those are takeaways there on offense from what I saw last night. I thought the offensive line played better, but yet, I mean, you're playing Vanderbilt, so you've got a physical advantage there anyway. Should have a strength advantage against their defensive line, but I mean, you played well, so I can't really complain about that. Now, getting into something else defensively. With South Carolina last night. These are some eye-popping stats, and a lot of people that are, pumping the sunshine today and are all about the, why don't you just shut up and enjoy the win? We're bold eligible. Just listen to that and hear Carolina jackpot out. Okay. Last night, Vanderbilt running back Ray Davis, number 2, Raekwon Davis. He's a transfer from Temple. Most of y'all probably never heard of him. I've heard of him because I kind of study college football a little bit. You know why the rest of you probably hadn't heard about him? Not real good. Okay, he's not. I mean, this is an average SEC back. Last night against the Gamecocks, Ray Davis rushed 20 times for 167 yards. No touchdowns. 8.4 yards a carry last night for Mr. Davis. The only other time this year Mr. Davis has went over 100 yards. Let me check that and make sure that I'm not telling you a lie. Oh, he has a couple of times, but okay. He against Ole Miss, Ray Davis, 105 yards rushing against them, but that was on 27 carries. So I actually toted the rock 7 more times against Ole Miss, and he only really rushed for 3.9 yards against Lane Kiffin's defense. 116 yards rushing against Northern Illinois on 23 carries. So that was a 5-yard average against a non-Power 5 team on the road. This guy has rushed for totals such as 4.8 yards against Elon and Wake Forest. And he has rushed for 3.9 yards, once again, against Ole Miss. 2.4 yards per carry against Georgia. 12 carries, 29 yards. Against Mizzou, 15 rushes. This was 2 weeks ago. 15 rushes against Mizzou. 28 yards, 1.9 yards a carry. Now, he did rush for 9 yards a carry against Hawaii. But, I mean, is that really the litmus test? Is that really the comparison that we want to be making? Ladies and gentlemen, they have a real issue. They have a real issue stopping the run. And it's not getting any better. It has not gotten any better this year. In fact, it's gotten worse. I haven't looked. I'm not going to go back. I haven't looked at all the stats from the previous games. That's one of the worst performances I know of all season. I think the performance against the Arkansas running back was pretty bad as well. 167 yards to a no-name Vanderbilt running back. Come on, guys. Look. And I've heard it all, okay? I've heard it all from my buddy Rob Sanders over on our podcast and everything else. Well, Carolina jackpot. South Carolina ain't got no linebackers. South Carolina ain't got no linebackers. Okay, well, so South Carolina had no linebackers. And I've heard this, well, Carolina jackpot, Beamer's still playing with Will Muschamp's players. Will Muschamp was a defensive genius, wasn't he? This is maddening. It really is. And we talk about Missouri here just a little bit, and this speaks to South Carolina has not been worth a fuck. Have not been worth a fuck at stopping the run in years. They haven't. And this year it seems to be worse. Let's go back and look at Mizzou for a minute, okay? Last year, Mizzou, under then defensive coordinator Steve Wilkes, Mizzou had one of the worst rush defenses that anyone had seen in Power 5 football in a while. They were awful. They were god-awful. So bad to the point where Eli Drinkowitz at the end of the year told Steve Wilkes to kick rocks. He packed up his shit and he left. Brings in Blake Baker as defensive coordinator. Blake Baker has Mizzou they're one of, if not the best, rush defenses in the SEC this year. And guess what? Except for like one transfer, they got the same players. They have the same players. So I don't want to hear, ain't got no linebackers, Carolina Jackpot, you ain't got no linebackers. It's not that. Once again, this is another one. It is a problem. Is a problem with coaching. It is a problem with coaching. And the defensive line has a little bit to do with stopping the run as well. They haven't done their part to stop the run either. And I know, I'm happy with us winning a game yesterday night. I'm happy with getting bowl eligible. But really, if you are a long-time hardcore supporter of this team, like I am, who has seen the good, bad, the ugly, and everything, a lot of the ugly, and everything else in between, at this point in your life, getting bowl eligible with a ho-hum win over the worst team in the conference while giving up 500 yards of offense is really just not enough. It's not enough. And those kinds of performances on the defensive side of the football is what's going to leave you with a 6-6 record at the end of the year. You're going to be 6-6 at the end of the year. I don't think, look, Clemson under Dabo always seems to play their A game against South Carolina. Yeah, the first 5 years or so, whatever, they didn't, because Clemson just wasn't as talented as South Carolina. When the talent levels became even, and then Clemson surpassed South Carolina in the talent levels, it was a little bit easier, I think, to get his team up for those games. They have gotten up for the South Carolina games. They haven't went out there really in a flat spot. I guess you could call 2018 kind of a flat spot, because they did give up a ton of yards to South Carolina. They still beat us by 3 touchdowns. They gave up a ton of yards. Other than that, I mean, since Clemson went on this winning streak in 2014 in that game, there's not a lot of real positives to point to at all. Tennessee is a team that actually runs the ball more than they throw it. People think of, Tennessee, Hendon Hooker, Jalen Hyatt, Cedric Tillman, these guys, frisbee catching dogs, throwing 50-yard bombs, because you see them throwing 50-yard bombs all the time. What you don't see is Jabari Small and Jalen Wright pounding the rock. I mean, they pound the rock for about 200 yards a game. And I mean, this is, indicative of, if you're giving up, almost 200 yards to the Vanderbilt running back, what are you going to do against a team like that who has a better offensive line and a better running back? What are you going to do against a Will Shipley? What are you going to do next week against Florida, against Travis Etienne's little brother and Anthony Richardson? I mean, how are you going to be able to stop the run against these guys? You're not. And if you're not stopping the run, you're not winning those games. So 6-6 and going to the Duke's Mayo Bowl again, or the Music City Bowl, it's just not good enough. It's just not. And I realize we're in year 2 of a rebuild, Carolina Jackpot. I know that. I know this. And I understand this. And maybe that's where we should be right now. But I'm not happy with it. I know a lot of fans aren't happy with it. Don't get me wrong. I am happy with a win. I'm happy with a win that I feel like it was a comfortable win. The final score was not indicative of South Carolina. I mean, they took control of the game in the red zone, so it wasn't really indicative of. The game was a little bit more lopsided than the score indicated, but it was still an ugly win. And that run defense it's absolutely putrid. Now, South Carolina did give up a long touchdown pass there. on Vanderbilt's first score of the game. I'm not really hating on that one. That was a nice throw. It was a very, very nice throw by their quarterback, Swan, and that wide receiver, Quincy Skinner. Not much you could do about that one, other than try to defend it a little bit better next time. But he really dropped a dime on that one. You couldn't have asked for a better pass. So the secondary, obviously much better than the front seven throughout the year, and especially last night. But guys, you're going to have to we're going to have to get the coaching to marry up with the talent and fix this, because these guys have talent. This is a talented football team. They've got good players. Are the linebackers the best in the SEC? No, but you can do something here to supplant that. You can do something to fix it. If Mizzou can do it, South Carolina can do it. That's just what I'm thinking here. So offensively, looked a little better last night. Let's continue with that. Let's continue on that trajectory. Let's continue opening it up. Let's continue, putting some wrinkles in and using some of those playmakers, and we'll score some more points. And we'll have some nice offensive outputs like that. But defensively, we've got to shore up on the line of scrimmage, and then the linebacking core. We've got to start stopping the run, or we're going to get run out of the gym against the next three teams that we play. And we'll end up in some crappy bowl. I don't think, even if you do, I don't see South Carolina beating Clemson in Clemson this year. Tennessee yesterday, did they look beatable? Yeah, they looked beatable. But when you look across the field on the other sideline who they were playing, I mean, maybe that's why they were kind of beatable. I think right now I don't really see South Carolina being too competitive with them. And then next week against Florida, we'll see. We'll see. I'm interested to see what the line opens up on that game. Florida 41-24 yesterday over Texas A&M. I don't know. How impressive was that really? Jimbo Fisher's team had a lot of starters out in that game. I mean, a lot. They've already battled a lot of injuries this year. And yesterday, they did have a lot of people out. Nobody making excuses for them. And they actually were leading at halftime. But in the second half, guess what it was? Lack of depth. And I think that was probably due to the sickness. Apparently a lot of these kids had the flu. Didn't make the trip to College Station. So we'll see. I don't think Florida's a very good football team. I think they're a mediocre football team, and South Carolina's also a very mediocre football team, and we're playing them there. So, and it's revenge. It's revenge. It is revenge spots. When there's been a coaching change, I kind of tend to wonder. I mean, does that lessen the impact or the need for the revenge? I don't really know. The bulk of that roster, well, a lot of it, I mean, not the bulk, it's half, I guess, is still there. So, and South Carolina clowned them pretty well last year as a big favorite, as Florida being a big favorite, that is, at home. So I think they're going to be looking to take a measure out on the Gamecocks. But we'll see. I expect this to open up as at least a touchdown underdog, if not more, to Florida. It'll be an interesting game next Saturday. If we can win that one and finish 7-5, you'll definitely go to something, I think, better than the Duke's Mayo Bowl. But we'll see, guys. Got to shore some stuff up, but I do think we're heading in the right direction. We're collecting W's instead of L's, and that's what matters. I'll see you guys next time. Appreciate it. Check out the live show this evening. Hit the video with a thumbs up if you enjoyed the content here this afternoon, and I will see y'all later. Peace, and I'm out. Go Cox, and go Coach Beamer. Woo!